Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and I'm delighted to be joined this evening by Kevin McCluskey. We're at half-time of the Scottish Cup final, Kev, and this has been a huge game, massive build-up, a lot of the attention on our gaffer, Ange Postecoglou, who has watched on from the sidelines, and I noticed he was screaming, and I mean screaming on 35 minutes at Jota down the right, and it was from the right-hand side, but from the boot of O'Reilly that a brilliant ball came in and we opened the scoring. Did that first half go the way you expected?
Not really. Well, yes and no, I'll say. Not really in terms that I thought would be more than one up by halftime, but in terms of the possession-wise and the way that we've played, probably, yeah. I expected that we would dominate possession. We must be up at around about 80% possession in that half. It's been pretty dominant that way. Some slack passing, I would say, on our behalf has kind of let us down. Give a wee bit of credit, I think, to Inverness because they've got back and defended in numbers, which you would expect, but I don't think they've been particularly well organised defensively. I think there's been spaces that we could capitalise in on. We just haven't. But that goal's massive, and it's come at a great time for us. You know, it's what was it, 6-7 minutes before half time. It's given us proper boost and lift going into the break. And for those last few minutes, again, we've looked like we could just turn the screw and get a second. So happy that we're going in ahead. Happy that we've dominated the game. Areas that we can improve on, though, in terms of that crispness of passing and getting the final pass through. But, you know, if you're 1-0 up at halftime in a cup final, you're a hard man if you're going to be unhappy at that.
Well, we obviously over the last couple of weeks have welcomed a new contributor to Acsom. Jerry Taylor has been on the show the last couple of Thursdays, and we said this morning that if he wasn't hiding behind his couch at half-time, would he be all right to come on the half-time show? Thankfully, after Kyogo's goal, he is able to come on. He looks... Mate, what's your inspiration? Is it the Ultimate Warrior?
I think I might get carried away, mate. See, because I don't drink anymore. So I came off the drink about 2 months ago, and I'm thinking, what can I do? So this, that, and that. I'm getting carried away. And I'm also hiding a really shit haircut that I've got.
Well, listen, remember the pandemic. That's all I'm saying, right? Where we all had bad haircuts. And
remember last time I was on?
The thing, your hair looks fine, mate. Don't worry about that. I'm just looking at the face paint and thinking it's more kind of Ultimate Warrior.
Wi-Fi's cap and all.
Vintage 1990 WWF. But see, before the game we've gone in, Kevin, and I think we're always really careful to say, well, we're not going to say it's going to be 4, 5, 6-0. Right, we're always very careful because games often don't go the way that you expect them to go, and then you go out against Aberdeen and you tank them 5-0. But the timing of that goal by Kyogo will open a lot of the space at the back there, because I just felt, well, I'll come at you, Jerry, first. Although Inverness have done nothing really in the game, every single time they've been hunting in packs. Every time Celtic have had the ball, hunting in packs, snuffing it out. And the quality of a Jota or the quality of O'Reilly, even with that quality, it's difficult when you're just snuffed out like that. I don't know if Jerry's Wi-Fi...
You've got to give credit to Inverness Cali Thistle as well. Oh, I think I've got a delay, mate. Do you want me to come off and come back? Because I think I've screwed this.
You could try that. Yeah, that would be ideal. It's over to you then, Kev, with regards to that. Hunting in packs. And even when you've got the quality there, it's difficult to break that down, isn't it?
It can be, yeah. As I was saying, I think what Inverness have done well is they've got bodies back in numbers. We've seen it often enough. You know, they've got maybe 5 or 6, even 7 in a row along the 18-yard box. It is difficult to find space. But what I've kind of noticed that they've been doing at times is maybe going a bit man for man almost. So if we can get the movement, someone moves a defender out, they're not disciplined enough that they're holding the line, they're tracking the man. So there's spaces that we can get in behind. And I guess in a way that's probably like a learning curve for us in this game as well for that, because we're used to defences playing in a certain way against us. Inverness aren't quite doing it. They're trying to block the space, but not always managing it at times. We need to be sharper with the passing, I think. a bit quicker. Hatate, for me, was probably one of the disappointments at times because I felt he could just have moved it on a bit quicker. But getting the goal changes everything because they're going to tire as the game goes on. As we get to the hour mark, the fact they haven't played for a month is really going to kick in. As you say, we're hunting in packs. We're going in there. You've got O'Reilly, Kyogo, Jota all closing down at the one time. Chances will come in the second half as the game goes on. So, we're one up. And it puts us in a great position, I think, for that second half because Inverness will need to come out a wee bit more. There will be spaces in behind. And we weren't going to put a number on it in the pre-match. But let's say if we get 3 or 4, we could comfortably win the game by 3 or 4 come the end of it, I would think.
My prediction this morning, Kevin, was 3-0. And again, not because of any disrespect. I just think what you've made the point there about the kind of tempo that Celtic play at. And even if we didn't have that goal there in the first half, I think we'd be sitting here very frustrated at the performance and the fact that we weren't ahead. But you can grind it out and be patient, and Celtic will eventually grind a team like Inverness down, who haven't played a competitive game. And Jerry, I'm going to come back to you. Hopefully, we're all up and running and everything's running on par with us over here. Now, you said you would join us if you weren't hiding behind your couch. Was there any moments in that first half you were thinking it wasn't going to work out for us? We weren't going to be world record holders this evening?
Aye, every minute that we didn't have the ball, because that's the kind of guy I am, mate. Honestly, I sent you a wee picture, the calm before the storm today. So I went and climbed a hill in the middle of nowhere, metal detecting, because all of a sudden it came into my head, we've underestimated them. We've been talking about Ange, we've been doing this. I was scared of another Super Cali go ballistic, and I genuinely had to go up into the hills. My missus was like, go a walk, just go a walk. So I went in metal detecting. And I came back and I put in the group chat, inspire me. I'm feeling a bit jittery. So everyone's like, we'll be fine. And then I felt better and I started to watch the game. I was all right. And then I just thought, I don't know. And this is a credit to Inverness because we always talk about every game against Celtic's a cup final. This is their cup final in the cup final. And it's just like, there was a lot of worry until the goal went in. But even now in the second half, I'm confident, but not as confident as the 4-0 I was predicting earlier.
There's Jim Orr is on a Friday on a Celtic State of Mind. He's been contributing
Love him.
He's brilliant, but he's one of these individuals who watches a game of football and can't enjoy it until Celtic are 3 goals up. And I get it. I totally get it. Right? But there does come a point, I think, in Ange's team where we start to express ourselves and things start to happen a wee bit more naturally, and there's more of a flow and it's fluid. And I think getting that goal first will allow us to do that. In terms of slack passing, I know what you were saying there, Kev. I think Hatate was unlucky in the first half because there was an interplay between him and Jota, and it was just a slip. If he hadn't lost his footing, Hatate's scoring at that point, and you're looking at a completely different game. But I'm going to go back to the point I made to you before, Kevin. 35 minutes in, Ange absolutely bellowing at the top of his voice. Jota, I don't think he was impressed with his positioning. Have you been impressed with the wingers? Because that's the 2 areas that I highlighted at the beginning of the game would really work for us.
I've actually made a note on 32 minutes, so I'm before Ange in this one. When I'm saying both wingers have been quiet, ineffectual in the ball, and they have been. We spoke about it before the game that we thought that Jota, Maeda would be the 2 boys that would take the game to Inverness, and they'd be our key players. That's where we would get the success. Up until that point, I think they were both pretty poor. Nothing was coming off for them. But then again, a lot of our play was, for me, it was coming through the middle. It was Starfelt and Iwata that were like striding forward. They both had chances when they could have taken on long-range efforts, but they chose not to. And then it's going to Hatate, and that's where I'm thinking he was a bit slow to pick the right pass on a few occasions. So really up until that point, there was a lot of things that just weren't quite working. Things just weren't clicking, but definitely the 2 wide players up till then were disappointing. But then my next note, like on 33, is Maeda cuts inside and he gets the shot off that goes wide. And that's when it all starts to click into place. The wingers start to get a wee bit more involved, start taking the game more to Inverness. I know the goal's not from Jota, but it's from his position, that inside right kind of position, and it's O'Reilly that does the job. And it's such a typical Ange goal again, isn't it? Just like someone in the inside right position. It's a low cross to the front post, and you just know Kyogo's getting the great movement, gets ahead of the defender. Only one place that ball's finishing up.
That seems to be almost like a signature move and a signature goal for Kyogo. And there was a game earlier on this season, Jerry, that Kevin and I were covering. It was Aberdeen at Pittodrie, and it looked as though it was going to be one of those days where no matter how hard we tried, we weren't going to be able to break them down. And after the game, we did win 1-0. McGregor obviously saved the bacon that day. Ange bemoaned the fact that he drills it into his players, get the ball across quick and low, across the front, and Kyogo will be on the end of it. And we weren't doing it that particular day. I think, though, to be fair, there was probably only one or two occasions where we could have done it, Jerry. But again, to be honest with you, I've not been complacent coming into this game. I just look at the fact of the matter that, in terms of where we are against where Inverness are, in the pecking order of Scottish football, we should win this game. Even if it had gone 50, 55, 60 minutes, I still think we would have ground them down. Patrick McLaughlin agrees. You're in on the YouTube, Patrick. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. And you're saying they'll have nothing left by 70th minute. Kev made that point, and I think you're absolutely spot on. Liam Reid, pretty slow game, but 1-0 will do me. Listen, I remember a cup final where we beat Dunfermline Athletic 1-0, and Pierre Doumbé scored the goal, and he was never seen again. It does. At the end of the day, if we win the world records and Ange shakes hands with Dermot Desmond in the showers at Hampden, and everything's good and rosy in the garden, no one will care as long as we win the game. Second half, Jerry, how do we approach it? Is it basically go again, do exactly what it is? That's our game plan. They're now, they're on the back foot now. They're going to have to open up. They're going to have to come at us, and that's where we can find the pockets of space behind their defence.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's more of the same, but with a wee bit more. And I think, big man, what you said just kind of covers it all. We are talking about, we expected to hammer them on the wings. We've been expecting that. So clearly Inverness have been expecting that as well. And that's why their tactics have been stop us there. So now we've got to kind of, do we drive through the middle? Do we come out in the wings? Ange will get it right. But I think everything you've been saying spot on, guys. And the next half's just a case of do it bigger and better, and let's bring this home, boys.
Exactly. John Kerr, I think that's a great way of describing the situation. We're trying to pick a lock rather than kick the door in. Listen, sometimes you've just got to boot the door in. And now that we've picked the lock, John, I think that, the second half is going to be different. I predicted 3-0 today because I think we're more than capable of beating most teams in the Premier Division, the Premiership, 3-0, never mind the Championship. So, yeah, I think 3-0 would be reasonable. It looks like a warm day there. In terms of who you've been impressed with in that first half, Kevin, I'm going to say O'Reilly. I think Matt O'Reilly's had a very, very good first half.
Yeah, I would think so. Like I say, for a team that's dominated the game as much as we have, in terms of possession, there were very few proper standout players in that half. But O'Reilly's probably been the one. He's set up the goal. He's been digging in, winning the ball back when it's been loose. I think he had a first effort of the game, that kind of half volley thing when the ball broke out and he's hit it in the ground and it's gone over. Everything that we've done that's been good leading up to the goal has come through him at some point. He's been the most impressive player so far. So he'd been the one. But actually, for me as well, the two centre backs, because I think they've driven us forward when there's been limited options in front of them. Both of them, Starfelt and Iwata, both just taking it, strode forward, could maybe have had a shot or two themselves if they wanted to, but it's good to see them getting forward. And then I'll say, because I love him, Greg Taylor, again, another one.
Yeah.
He's been so advanced. He's been up in the right wing more than Jota's been in the right wing in that half. He's been everywhere. Mm-hmm. So actually, for someone who's just said not very many players would get pass marks, I think I've just went through half the team.
No, but again, sometimes
Quite right.
with Starfelt's the type of guy that comes in for criticism. But when he has a game like he just had there in the first half, where it was solid, composed, he was showing that leadership quality that we spoke about before the game, Kev. And then you've got Awata, who's only played a couple of games in that position for Celtic at least, looking really steady as a result of that as well. So yeah, you've got to highlight it. And I think Taylor as well, you know, to see him with the ball in the centre circle, passing it to Johnson, and the interplay between your two fullbacks in the centre of the park. You know, on paper that shouldn't work, but it does, because that's the way that Ange has got us set up. We're going to go to the second half. Jerry, thanks very much for coming in, my friend, and obviously we'll catch up during the week. Enjoy the rest of the game. Every single person in the comment section, 600 strong, thanks for joining us. Give us a thumbs up. Go and enjoy the rest of the second half, and we'll see you at full time. Thank you once again for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.